come closer. This story does not begin with kings or gods carved in stone. It begins with water. Before the first cities rose from the mud of Mesopotamia, before writing gave humanity a voice, the Sumerians spoke of a time when knowledge itself arrived from the sea. They called them the Apkallu, not men, not gods, but beings who came from the deep, wearing the forms of fish, emerging at dawn and returning to the waters by nightfall. To the ancient world, the sea was not just water, it was memory. It was origin. It was the unknown. And from that unknown, something came ashore. The Apkallu did not arrive in fire or thunder. There was no conquest, no fear, only instruction. The Sumerians said these beings walked among early humans, observing them in silence before they began to teach. And what they taught would change humanity forever. This is not a myth about worship. It is a story about learning. And that difference matters. The Apkallu were remembered not for what they demanded, but for what they gave. The Sumerians never said humanity discovered knowledge on its own. They said it was shown. Writing, they believed, did not emerge through trial and error. The first marks pressed into wet clay were already structured, already purposeful. Symbols appeared fully formed, carrying meaning from the very beginning, as if someone already knew what they were meant to say. Agriculture followed the same pattern. Crops were planted according to precise cycles. Water was guided through channels that required planning, mathematics, and foresight, skills a newly settled people should not yet have mastered. Irrigation systems did not evolve slowly. They appeared complete, turning dry land into ordered fields. The land was measured, boundaries were defined, ownership was established, chaos became geometry. Laws, too, were not remembered as experiments. They arrived as systems, codes that defined right and wrong, order and punishment, responsibility and balance. These were not tribal instincts written down. They were frameworks, imposed gently but firmly, shaping how humans lived together. Cities rose with clear layouts. Streets followed intention. Temples aligned not only with the land, but with the sky. Astronomy was not curiosity. It was instruction. The movement of the stars was mapped, not admired. The heavens became a clock, a calendar, a guide. Time itself was organized. Even rituals were not acts of blind belief. They were procedures, specific actions meant to maintain harmony between humanity and forces it did not fully understand. According to the tablets, the Apkallu were sent by Enki, the Lord of Wisdom and the deep waters. But Enki did not rule through them. He taught through them. The Apkallu did not stay to govern, to command, or to dominate. They instructed, observed, and withdrew. And that distinction matters, because rulers demand obedience. Teachers prepare you to stand alone. One question refuses to fade. Why fish? To modern eyes, it looks symbolic, decorative, mythological. But to the ancient mind, water was not a metaphor. It was a boundary, a border between worlds. Humans lived on land, under the sky. Fish lived where humans could not breathe, could not see clearly, could not survive. The deep was not heaven. It was older than heaven. The Apkallu wore the skins of fish not to appear divine, but to mark their origin. They came from below, from the deep waters associated with memory, creation, and hidden knowledge. In Sumerian thought, the abyss was not empty. It was full, full of wisdom, full of things unseen. What makes this unsettling is consistency. Across reliefs, tablets, and regions, the Apkallu appear the same posture, the same garments, the same purpose. This was not imagination drifting freely. It was repetition, memory, pattern. They taught by day. They withdrew by night, always returning to the water, always remaining slightly distant, never fully accessible. They did not eat with humans. They did not sleep among them. They did not build homes. They did not leave descendants. They remained separate, as if prolonged contact was never intended, as if their presence itself had limits. Perhaps that is why they were trusted. They did not linger long enough to be questioned. They did not claim authority. They left behind knowledge and absence sometimes is more convincing than presence. The tablets whisper of a final chapter, of 7 true Apkallu, pure and uncorrupted, and of later knowledge that humanity was not ready to carry. Something shifted. Balance weakened. The lessons were remembered, but not fully understood. Then came the flood, not as punishment, but as silence. When the waters receded, the Apkallu did not return. No teachers emerged from the sea. Humanity stood alone, holding fragments of a greater understanding it could no longer access. Cities rose again. Myths formed. Gods replaced teachers. And the origin of knowledge faded into story. But perhaps these stories survived for a reason. Not to explain the past, but to warn the future. Because if civilization once began with teachers from the deep, then maybe the true mystery is not where humanity came from, but why those teachers chose to leave.